My name is Livia. I'm 34 years old. And the only certainty I carry today is this silence can destroy more than any scream. His silence was what made me realize I had lost the man who loved me the most. And I lost him alone. Word by word. Gesture by gesture. And worse, thinking I had everything under control. If you had met me a few years ago, you'd probably call me assertive. Some people said I was strong. Others, less delicate, called me bossy. But to me, it was simple. If I didn't make the decisions, no one would. At work, at home, in the relationship. That's how I operated. And for a long time, it made me believe I was in charge until the day everything collapsed. Derek came into my life quietly. No noise. No grand promises. He was the opposite of the kind of man I usually dated. Shy, observant, incredibly kind. I remember the first time we talked. He was sitting in a cafe reading a philosophy book, and I made a joke. Trying to look smart or just hiding from reality. He looked up, smiled, and said, "Sometimes escaping reality is the only way to stay sane." That caught me off guard. I laughed. And I stayed there, talking with a stranger who, without knowing, was already shaking something in me. We started dating shortly after. Nothing intense at first. But he slowly made his way into my life with a gentleness that disarmed me. Derek was steady. His calmness contrasted with my chaotic energy. While I needed to control everything, he simply flowed. No rush. No pressure. He listened to me like every word I said mattered. And I mistook that for passivity. The truth? He was just trying to love me the way I needed. We got married 2 years later. A simple ceremony. Just close friends and family. I organized everything, of course. From the menu to the exact seat each guest would occupy. Derek simply said, "Whatever you think." Love to every suggestion I made. Back then, I thought that was perfect, a man who let me decide everything. Who trusted me. Now I understand he just didn't want to disappoint me. Time passed. Routine settled in. And with it came small arguments. Nothing serious. I talked too much, he stayed silent. I wanted to go out, he wanted to stay in. But in the end, he always gave in. If I wanted to go to a fancy dinner, he came. If I wanted to watch a certain movie, he watched. If I wanted to rearrange the furniture at 2 in the morning, he helped. And I mistook that for partnership. Until that night. It was a Friday. Derek's college friend, Caleb, was throwing a birthday barbecue. A simple event, but with a good crowd. I knew Derek didn't love big gatherings, but he wanted to go. Said it had been a while since he saw his friends. I thought it was great. He usually said no. But this time he seemed excited. We got to Caleb's house around 8 p.m. The place was lively, music playing, and the smell of grilled meat reminded me of my teenage years. Derek seemed fine. He chatted, smiled. I blended in fast, jumping into conversations, cracking jokes, making people laugh. At one point, the group started talking about relationships. Someone joked, "So, do you think your partner could protect you during a robbery?" It was my cue. Always quick-witted, I said, "Derek? He can't even open a jar of pickles." I laughed loudly and turned to him with a playful look. People laughed. Caleb joined in. "Right. This guy skipped arm day and leg day." Laughter grew. And I felt alive. Funny. In control. I went on. "If we got robbed, I'd be the one protecting both of us." Derek would freeze or offer them his watch without a word. More laughter. More energy. But in the corner of my eye, I saw it. He was quiet. Smiling politely. But uneasy. His eyes downcast. His body, withdrawn. Still I pushed further. "Seriously, guys? Look at these little arms. He's got the strength of a teenager. No offense, love." And that's when it happened. Derek stood up. Calmly. Grabbed his jacket. And left the room. No words. I thought he was going to the bathroom. Or to grab a beer. But he didn't come back. 10 minutes. 15. Nothing. I asked Caleb if he'd seen Derek. He hesitated, then said, "I think he left." The air turned heavy. No one was laughing anymore. And for the first time that night I felt shame. I called a ride and went home alone. I walked through the door hoping it was a misunderstanding. Maybe he just wasn't feeling well. Maybe something had upset him. But when I opened the bedroom door, he was already in bed, lying on his side. Silent. "Babe," I said softly. He didn't respond. Didn't move. I lay next to him. And there, in the dark, for the first time, I felt a deep gap between us. One I didn't know how to cross. The next morning, the house was thick with silence. I woke up before him, a rare thing. I stayed in the kitchen, pretending everything was fine, making coffee. Maybe he was just tired. Maybe I was being dramatic. That's what I told myself while I stirred sugar into my mug like someone avoiding their own reflection. He walked into the kitchen a few minutes later. Didn't look at me. Grabbed a mug, poured his coffee, and sat without a word. "Did you sleep okay?" I asked, trying to sound casual. He just shrugged. "Derek, please. Talk to me. What happened last night?" He sighed, hands wrapped around the mug. "Still not looking at me," he said. "You humiliated me." It hit like a punch to the chest. No drama. No yelling. Just truth. "Come on, it was just a joke. Everyone was laughing. You always laugh with us." But I wasn't laughing, Livia. You didn't even notice. I was silent. A tight knot formed in my stomach. Not guilt. Not yet. More like irritation. Irritation that he was taking it so seriously. "You're overreacting." Seriously. Everyone jokes around. You've laughed about it before. I have. But you know the difference? I laughed so I wouldn't have to confront you. So I wouldn't make things uncomfortable. But it hurt, Livia. It always hurt. That last sentence disarmed me. For a moment, I felt like I was finally hearing someone I had never really listened to. "So now you decide to feel everything? After all these years?" He finally looked at me. Not with anger, but with disappointment. "I've been feeling it for years. The difference is I'm done pretending I don't." And in that cold, quiet morning, I understood he wasn't starting to drift away. He was already gone. I just hadn't noticed. The days that followed didn't get better. They got worse. He slept turned to the wall. Ate in silence. Came home late. Said he was out with friends. I felt a constant tightness in my chest. And like anyone losing control, I did what I knew how to do, tried to take charge. But not with kindness. With blame. "You're avoiding me?" I asked one night, arms crossed in the hallway. "I'm trying to figure out why I'm still here," he answered without flinching. "Oh great. So now you're the victim?" "I'm not a victim of anything. I'm just tired of being a background character in my own life." Those words silenced me. He walked past me. Didn't look back. A week later, he asked to talk. We were sitting in the living room in silence when he said, "I want a divorce." The words were calm. Final. For a second, I thought he was testing me. But he wasn't bluffing. He had already decided. "You're serious?" "I am. And it's not just about the party, Livia. That was just the last drop. I spent years dimming myself to fit this marriage. To not upset you. To not annoy you. But I'm done." I tried to argue. I cried. I yelled. I told him he was weak. That he never had the courage to take a stand. That now he just wanted to look strong because his friends hyped him up. But none of it worked. He just stood there. Looking at me. Silent. "I'm going to Caleb's for a few days," he finally said. "I need space. And I think you do too." That night, when he closed the door behind him, something inside me broke. And for the first time in years I was truly alone. The first few days without Derek were a blur. Routine echoed. The bed felt enormous. The house, once full of movement, now hollow. I still pretended it was just a break. That he needed time. That in a few days, everything would go back to normal. But with each day he didn't come back, something inside me grew colder. He came by from time to grab more clothes. Walked in, said a short hey, avoided eye contact. When I tried to talk, he answered politely, like talking to a coworker. That was it. I had become someone he tolerated, not someone he loved. I tried to regain control. Suggested couples therapy. Said we could find help. He just said, if you want to schedule it, let me know. But I didn't. Not because I didn't have time. Because I was scared. Scared to sit in a room and hear everything he really wanted to say. Scared to face that maybe I wasn't a good wife. That maybe his love died because I didn't know how to care for it. So I made excuses. Said my schedule was packed. That therapists were fully booked. He didn't insist. And that hurt more than any scream. One evening, he came to get more of his stuff. He looked lighter, like something inside him had settled. I tried to start a conversation. You doing okay? I am, he said, folding shirts. Actually, I'm better. That's good. I'm glad, I replied, trying to sound genuine, but feeling foolish. He paused, looked at me, and said, Livia, I'm starting to realize I deserve more than what we had. That cut deep. Like a cold, clean blade. I tried to answer, but all that came out was, did I not give you anything good? He took a breath. You gave me moments. But never space. Never a voice. I had to erase myself so much not to upset you that at some point, I didn't know who I was anymore. He finished packing, gave the living room one last look and left. And this time I knew. He wasn't coming back. Days turned into weeks. Our mutual friends faded away. And on social media, photos of him started appearing. Genuine smiles. Hiking trips. Dinners. He looked free. Meanwhile, I was sinking. I tried going out. I tried meeting new people. I downloaded dating apps. Went on a few dates. But nothing worked. The men felt empty. Or maybe I was the empty one. Because every smile reminded me of the one I destroyed. I started wondering if any part of this could be reversed. But deep down I already knew. Derek was gone. Not just from the house. But from me. From everything we were. And now I was just the memory of a chapter he had no interest in reopening. 3 months after the divorce, I saw a photo of Derek that shattered me. He was at an outdoor cafe, sitting with a woman. It was subtle. Nothing overly intimate. But there was something in his expression, a piece I had never been able to give him. The caption was simple. Good conversations on a quiet Saturday. I zoomed in on the photo like it could reveal some hidden truth. She was pretty, but not flashy. She looked calm. Kind. And in that moment I knew. He was truly moving on. I spent the rest of the day flipping between anger, sadness, and wounded pride. I wanted to text him. Say he was ungrateful. That I gave him the best years of my life. That he was just trying to hurt me. But I didn't send anything. Because deep down I knew. Derek wasn't the kind of man who played games. If he was with someone else, it was because he had closed the chapter with me. That night, alone in the dark living room of the house that was now just mine, I stared at the hallway mirror for minutes. My reflection looked tired. Eyes dull. Skin pale. Body tense. And right there, for the first time, I allowed myself to ask the question I'd been avoiding all along. What did I do? Because yes, I joked too much. I mocked the man who loved me. I used sarcasm as armor. And when he tried to say he was hurting, I called it drama. When he asked for respect, I gave him irony. And the worst part? I thought I was right. But I wasn't. I thought I was strong because I was in control. But now I see it was fear that made me act like that. Fear of being vulnerable. Of depending. Of truly loving. And Derek? He tried. He swallowed his pain for years. But in the end, even the most patient heart gets tired of bleeding in silence. Since then, I've been trying to rebuild myself. I whisper apologies hell never hear. I read more. I listen more. I bite my tongue before steamrolling over people. I've learned that strength isn't about control, it's about compassion. That love isn't always about being right, it's about knowing when to let go. And even if he never finds out, even if this version of me never reaches him, I'm grateful. Because losing Derek forced me to look inward. It made me realize that sometimes, love doesn't just die. We kill it. Slowly. With words said at the wrong time. With silence when the other is screaming on the inside. Now, when I think of him, I think kindly. I hope he's happy. I hope he feels seen, heard, respected. And I hope that one day, he'll find someone capable of loving me the way he did. And this time I hope he'll know how to love them back. Who are you in this story? The one who made the jokes or the one who stayed silent? Have you ever felt the weight of not saying anything? Or the guilt of laughing while someone else was falling apart? Have you ever lost someone because of words you didn't think could hurt? Or were you the one who got tired of being invisible? This was Livia's story. But in the next video you'll meet someone who went even further just to avoid losing control. If you thought this story was heavy, just wait until you hear the next one.